Our first guest is my longtime friend. He also has spent a lifetime fighting for civil rights in America. He's got a new book. It's called Rise Up. Please welcome virtually the Reverend Al Sharpton. Hiya, Al.
Hi, Wendy.
Okay, first shoe cam, please. I want to see. Al, sorry. I've got to see. Okay. So you recently became a grandfather. How's that for you?
It's a way of maturing. My daughter, Dominique, gave me my first and only godchild. He is going to be 2 years old, and he's named Marcus Al Sharpton Bright after me and his father. And he's already very active, always at our Saturday rallies and running around and making noise. And I think he has a little of the Al Sharpton in him because he can't be still and he can't be quiet. So I'm proud of him.
Yeah. So now, happy birthday before Saturday. I understand you're going to be 66.
Yes.
Now, how will you spend the day?
October 3rd, I'll be 66. And as you know, because we've been friends for years, I never thought I'd make it to 66. I didn't think I'd make it to 46. I was stabbed once leading the march. So I thank God every day because every day is a day that I didn't have to make it. So I try to make the best out of it.
Thank you, Al. All right, Al. So tonight, I've got my snacks all ready. I planned for 90 minutes, no commercials, and I'm gonna be rocking back and forth. I want the pre-game show, I want the post-game show, and I want the game. Look, what's your prediction? What's all going on? How should we feel? Al, come on.
I think you're going to see a real show. Hopefully it will be a substantive debate. But we're talking about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, who now is on the defensive, he's been under vicious attack and deservingly so on how he mishandled this COVID-19 situation. He's under attack now about his finances. We find out his businesses never really made money. He's under attack because he's trying to bring through a Supreme Court nominee during an election year, some 40 days before an election, when in 16 they would not let President Barack Obama bring forth a Supreme Court nominee who was 10, 11 months before the election. So he's going to be on the defensive, which means he's going to be trying to attack Joe Biden. He's going to try to distract the public. He's going to try to deal with everything but the issues. And if Joe Biden is not rattled and doesn't get suckered in, he cannot let him sucker in to just going through back and forward and reacting to Trump. He needs to deal with Trump, whatever Trump says, and then cut right to substance.
He's going to ask about Hunter and try to break him down. He's going to ask about Hunter. He's going to ask about Hunter.
He's going to ask about Hunter. He's going to ask about a lot of stuff. He needs to be able to be presidential without being a punk. Stand him off, but deal with your policies. Show us what a real president looks like.
So your relationship with Kamala Harris has gone back for years. Talk about that. Your thoughts?
Kamala Harris, I met when she was the DA in San Francisco, and I watched her grow. She's been involved a lot. We've done with National Action Network. But it's deep feeling for me because when I was 18 years old, I was one of the youth directors for Shirley Chisholm's running for president of the United States. And as I saw Kamala Harris, Shirley Chisholm was the first black woman elected to Congress. But Kamala Harris now to be on the ticket, which is the first time we've had a black woman on the ticket to be president or vice president, I can't help but think about Mrs. C. We call Shirley Chisholm Miss C. I write about her, and I write about this in the book, Rise Up. And I think that it shows the progress from 68 to now. We have this black woman that will be on the ticket and may be the vice president of the United States. And I think Shirley Chisholm is smiling on us. And I'm glad that I lived to see that. I remember sitting on the stage or the platform watching Barack Obama. I was one of his guests be sworn in as president. And I thought about how I was able to work as a youth with Jesse Jackson, who ran president, and live to see a black president. I want to be able to live to see a black woman vice president, honoring Shirley Chisholm's march toward that. So Kamala is able, she's equipped, she's great, and I think that we always need to remember those that cleared the path for us to walk through.
All right, Al, what's the new news on Breonna Taylor?
There is of course, the grand jury came back and said no indictment on any of the officers that killed her. They indicted one of them for endangering her neighbors. Can you imagine? Like she wasn't endangered. Right. Shot 6 times in her own house. Only thing she did was go to bed. They claimed they came in with a no-knock. One person said they said police. Everybody else said they didn't. And her boyfriend, thinking they were being broke in, shot. They shoot 20 times, 6 hits her, none hit the boyfriend. And they let her lay there. Now, last night, we hear one of the grand jurors have agreed with Ben Crump, who's the lawyer for the family, who I call the Attorney General for Black America, saying that we want to have the grand jury manuscripts and minutes released to the public because we want to know what was presented to the grand jury. You must remember, Wendy, the only one that goes in the grand jury is the prosecutor, no defense, no other lawyers. So if a prosecutor wants a prosecution, 99 times out of 100, they get it. If they don't, by not presenting all the evidence, they won't. So what did you present to a jury that they wouldn't even come back with reckless manslaughter when you caused the death of a woman that shouldn't have been killed? She was wanted for nothing. Even if she was wanted, it doesn't give you the right to kill her. But how do you come back to that? We want to see what it is. And isn't it interesting that even a member of the grand jury says, yes, put out there in public what you told us so people will know what we saw, heard, and didn't see and didn't hear.
Okay. Al, you gave a beautiful speech, presentation, going over to the crossroads for George Floyd. Do you want to talk about that at all? Because you said he was chosen.
Yeah, I was asked by the family to give 2 of the eulogies at the funeral in Minneapolis where he was killed, and then in Houston where he lived. And one of the things I wanted to say is George Floyd sparked the great civil rights resurgence of civil rights movement, whites and blacks marching all over the world. And I've never seen more whites marching than I've seen in the wake of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, and all the cases we've seen during the pandemic. And when I looked at the fact that George Floyd, the film of seeing that policeman with his knee on his neck, 8 minutes and 41 seconds. Ugh. And when it happened during the pandemic, but everyone was locked down in their house, so everyone's watching television. You couldn't watch sports because there was no sports, no basketball, no baseball, nothing, no distraction. And you're watching this film over and over again. Everyone's watching the news because they want to know, is there any good news that I can get out the house? And it hit a lot of Americans that didn't see the videos in the past of Eric Garner and all. And it led to a resurgence of a movement. And I said in the funeral to try and comfort that family that God sometimes uses unusual people, somebody that you and I would think had no potential, no promise. God uses them to really light up a new era. And George Floyd, who was an ordinary person, has done an extraordinary service to those of us that want to see police reform in this country.
Rest in peace.
His death, I think, would lead to real resurgence of movement in this country.
Al, I'll be in the house tonight with my door double locked, watching. Where will you be tonight? Because we're all going to be watching. Where will you be? What will you do?
I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching, and I'm going to be analyzing. And I'm doing a virtual book signing before it because my book launched today.
Okay.
But I'm going to be watching, and I'm going to also be working because we got to decide which road this country is going. We're going to see on the stage tonight, I think, what we are deciding between. I write about Donald Trump. I fought with him for 35 years in New York. I think he's a bigot. And I hope this is the beginning of his move out of the White House.
By the way, Al, all you do is fly around. You have no idea the crime here in New York. I mean, maybe you read about it on the news.
Oh, yeah.
But crime is like back to the 70s.
I do have crime. I do have an idea. A month after I did George Floyd's funeral, I did the funeral of a 17-year-old young man that was going to be a star athlete that was killed by a stray bullet in the Bronx, and a week later, a one-year-old kid, a young one-year-old kid, killed by a stray bullet. I fight just as hard against gun violence in the community as police that do things wrong. I think that we've got to fight against criminals, whether they're in blue jeans or blue uniform.
His new book is called Rise Up. It's in stores now. The Reverend Al Sharpton. Don't forget to tune in tonight. Get your mind right.